right, guys, let's go ahead and get started today. I wanted to get this kicked off and thank everybody for joining and attending our live webinar for our community and results driven today. Those of you that do not know who I am, my name is Aaron Letty. I am the head coach here at Results Driven. So I help pretty much strategize, bring in strategic partners, help develop the coaches that I'm sure a lot of you guys have had conversations with. Being part of this community. And I coach a select few individuals, which I see some are on this call right now. So what's up to those guys? So today, one thing I really wanted to talk about, it's actually funny. We were having a conversation with our coaching staff today in our huddle. And we were talking about one extremely important thing. And I think it's all going to boil down to a term of what we all know and love, which is called RGAs, revenue generating activities. And I know that David, I've talked to David numerous times. Met him in person only once, but I've had numerous encounters with him virtually over the course of 2 years. And I thought it was really important to bring him in to kind of talk through about maximizing on those RGAs through eliminating a lot of the nuanced things that none of us really want to deal with. I really wanted to bring David in, highlight David, and thank David for coming into the community today. And I'm just going to pass the torch over to you, David, and kind of talk through your process, what you got going on, and
yeah, man. And I thank you so much. I do appreciate y'all having me on. We work with a lot of people, a lot of your clients and students and people in the community. And yeah, you're absolutely right. RGA, revenue generating activity. We should only do the things that matter, the things that absolutely move the needle. And what I came on here today to talk to you guys about, and that's the same thing I talk about all the time, is that philosophy or process that it took me a long time to learn. Right, I was absolutely the worst example of adopting this for 10 years of our business career, and it really stunted our growth and stopped us from growing and having the business that we really wanted, which was to do more deals, make more money, and really just have that freedom to spend time with your family. So yeah, I appreciate that. Let me I think I can share screen. Should be able to.
Yep.
If I can hop on over. What we're going to do is I got just a little quick presentation. We'll talk about transactions in general. And then at the end, Aaron, what I want to do is, if as much time as everybody wants to hang out, I want to just answer as many questions as we can. If you've got, the worst deal that you've ever had, or something that you're really nervous about, where if it comes to title and transactions, then that is what I want to make sure that we are answering for you all. So cool. Does that work? Hopefully you can see that. Good. Okay, cool. All right. So, okay. So am I responsible for letting people in now, or can you still do it? Are we co-hosting?
I think people should just be able to come in automatically.
Okay, cool. All right. I just want to make sure that wasn't me, because every so often I'll let a little backlog here build up. So cool. So let's go ahead and get started. And basically one of the most important things, and something that was really a big thing for me, is before we really scaled up our company and we went nationwide. We say nationwide, but really it was 28 markets across the country. Was I constantly wondered and looked at big companies like Tiff and Josh and some of the other ones around the country, and I wondered, like, how is it that these people, they're growing these companies? How is it that they're having these deposits, right, just dropped into their accounts randomly? And what was weird was, and we'll talk about this in a minute, like when it started happening to me, it was the craziest thing. And I was in the same boat as a lot of you, and wondered, like, how is it that I can increase my deal closing rate, right? Because we know anywhere between 25 and 40% of all wholesale deals die. And what is the reason for that, right? So we'll definitely come around and talk about that too. But one thing that I wondered, and I get a lot of questions, right, is how can I do this business, right? We all got into this business to help sellers, right? That's what we do as investors. But that's the fun part, right? We're all basically very talky type people. But how can I do it without having to do have the broccoli at the buffet, right? How do I not have to deal with title companies and all of those issues, right? Because that's not the fun part of the business, right? It's really, to a lot of us, it feels like we're walking through quicksand. But then, also, have you ever wondered how just some of the largest real estate companies just continue to grow and expand just effortlessly, right? So we definitely want to talk about that. And what I want to share is how you can scale your business without adding more people, right? Because one thing that I know Josh and Tiff and you, Aaron, talk about a lot is growing revenue is fantastic, but we want to keep expenses to a minimum, because that middle, right, between expenses and revenue, that's profit. That's the money that we take home. And that's what's really important, right? So I want to share how you can grow to seven figures in your business. And there was a time where I thought that was absolutely crazy. I was doing, 2 or 3 deals a month, and I thought, my God, if I ever did $100,000 a month, it would be the craziest thing ever. And now we have clients that do that very, very regularly. But the other thing we'll share is really the reason you got into this business, right? Is how to gain more time in your business, right? To focus on the things that are important, like revenue generating activities, and then have extra time to go do the things that you want to do. Because it's funny, we've all seen that meme on Facebook that says, I left my 40-hour-a-week job to go work 90 hours a week for myself. But ultimately, what I want to share is how you can close more deals than ever before, and really actually from working less. So here's how Easy can help you, right? Our whole mission, the reason that we started, is we want to help you close your deals faster and with less effort, right? I want you to do more deals, make more money, and have more freedom, right? That is everything that we do in our company revolves around those 3 things. That's literally the basis of our core values, right? So we want to help you scale your business, and we've been able to help a lot of companies do that really rapidly. Because what they found is that now all of a sudden they have 25 or 30% of their time to go back and put into revenue generating activities. And we'll keep coming back to that, because what is it that actually moves the needle? Talking to sellers, talking to buyers, getting properties under contract, selling those contracts. That's what makes the cash register ring. Not to say that transactions isn't important. It's incredibly important, right? Changing the oil on your car is incredibly important, but it may not be the best and highest use of your time as a business owner. And again, we talked about this earlier, right? Reducing costs while increasing revenue, right? So how can we take that orange and squeeze the most out of it, where we can get more of our deals close to where we're 70 or 80% of our deals are closing, right? But actually having to spend less time on those deals. And that's something that we'll talk about, how we have helped lots of companies do that and really scale up, because you want to have more time, right? You want to have more time in your business to do the things that are important and not busy work, right? And that was something for me, that was a big challenge. And in the early days of my business, I've been doing this for 21 years. And originally I felt like I had to do everything, right? Nobody can do it as good as me. Nobody's as smart as me, all that stuff, which is absolutely crazy, right? We're all really amazing at certain parts of our business, but we're not amazing at everything. Let's be real. And once I realized that I could bring in people that were true experts and were the best in their field, and I could plug them into my business at just a fraction of the price, that was when I saw that tremendous growth. And ultimately, we all want to do the same thing, right? We want to close more deals and make more money. So what you're going to discover is how we can help you completely outsource all of your title and paperwork headaches, right? This is something we've talked about before. We work with, again, a lot of people in the community. We have clients all over the country, some doing 2-3 deals a month, some doing, I think we just had somebody did 57 deals last month. So we work with companies of all different sizes to really help, again, maximize their revenue without having to do all the hard stuff, right? Without dying a death of 1,000 paper cuts from title companies and walking through sand on the beach to try to get to the other side. And ultimately, we want to talk about how we can work for you and, give you the highest possible level of service for less than you could hire somebody to work at McDonald's, right? That's obviously the goal, right? We want to cut those expenses down. And problems, we've all got the same problems. The same problems that investors have today are the same ones that I had in 2009, 10, and 11, right? We have lost deals. I can't tell you, Aaron, how many times I would, when I was first starting out and I didn't know any better, I would take my contract and I was so excited, and I would go down to the title company and I would, bam, drop that contract on his desk. And my attorney, his name was Jeremy, we called him Dr. No, because everything was no, right? He'd look at this and go, man, I can't close this. This one's going to have to go through probate or bankruptcy or quiet title, or, whatever it was, right? Some title issue, right? There's some problem. And what do we do as investors? Right? The whole thing that we do with investors is we go out and it's our job to help people, right? It's our job to find and seek out those problems so we can solve them, right? And the more problems somebody has, of course, the lower that we can get the price on that deal, right? But ultimately, at the end, we have to be able to unwind all of those problems, because what do we tell our buyers, right? Hey, Mr. Buyer, we guarantee clear title and proration of taxes, and we're ready to get this thing closed as quick as you're ready to fund it. So somewhere in between there, right, between all the problems and clear title, somebody has to unwind all those things. And that's what we really specialize in for investors, because I don't want you working harder, right? We want you working smarter and spending the time on the things that are going to help you grow your company, right? That's what we want for you. I don't want you wasting all of your time doing paperwork and figuring out what a monumental title is. And oh my God, what do I do? They can't find a death certificate. Where do I even go for a death certificate? Or I got one this morning. One of our coordinators did, like, mortgage was paid off, 20 years ago, and they can't get a release because before Dodd-Frank happened, mortgage companies just used to send you the release and tell you to go down and record it. Well, of course, nobody ever did that, right? So, how do you solve those problems, which a title company doesn't? They're not going to do it, and they don't have the answer for you. And then, one of the great things that I tell all investors now that you have that we didn't have when we started 15, 20 years ago, like, we didn't have the ability to do virtual wholesaling. That wasn't even a thing. It didn't exist, right? You worked in your area. But now, like, technology is amazing. There's cold calling companies, and I guess a texting company or two left, right? But PropStream and Privy and all these different softwares where we can comp properties any place in the country at the snap of a finger. Well, that's great, because it means you can drop into any county or city in the country, right? And you can go where the best deals are to make the biggest spreads, because that's why we do this, right? But 50 states, right? 50 different sets of problems, right? Some states like New York are a little bit challenging. Other states, Tennessee, very easy. But there are some states where, there's dual escrow, and California, North and South Carolina, or sorry, Connecticut, one more time, the other C word, California. North California is different from Southern California. So 50 different states do it 50 different ways. And then even beyond that, there's 3,500 counties who, again, all do it a little bit goofy and have municipal lien releases. And, Birmingham, Alabama, nobody should be in Birmingham. It's not the best place to be, but, they require these really weird water company release things before you can get clear title. So that's a problem, right? Doing deals in different states. And then, not having a productive, well-trained, or efficient team. And what we're talking about there is, and I get it, sometimes you do what you have to do, but I talk to a lot of clients or prospective clients, and they'll be like, well, I've got my dispo guy doing transactions. I'm like, man, I don't know if that's really the best person, right? Because you hired that dispo person to be a shark, right? To be on the phone selling your deal. And if you're distracting them by giving them administrative work, again, revenue generating activity, right? That person is there to sell your deal. And if I'm going to take 30 or 40 or even 50% of their time and put them on, hey man, go find a title company in West Virginia that'll do a novation, right? Like, what are they going to do? They're not going to be selling their deals, right? So those are all legitimate, real problems that everybody has. So brings up a great question, right? Why us? Like, why should you outsource any of this stuff, right? And I equate it to, like, you could certainly change your own oil, right? But I don't know how many of us do it. Maybe some people like really love engines and love tinkering with that type of stuff. I tell people I'm too big, right? If I was to slide underneath the car, I'd get stuck like Winnie the Pooh, and you just see my legs kicking. It's not the thing that I want to do or that I'm good at. But what I am good at is 21 years in real estate. And I've done all kinds of deals, over 1,500 wholesale deals, and, creative deals, rentals and rehabs, and just tons and tons of deals. And it's not that I'm closing your deal, but we take that knowledge, and that's what we teach all of our coordinators, right? They all, one thing about our company is we are owned by investors, right? I'm an investor. So, we definitely have that mentality of, we are here for you and to make sure that your deals are getting closed as quickly as humanly possible, right? One of the cool things about us is we are the only transactions company. We're certainly the largest by a long shot. There are a few other ones, but nobody's actually closed deals in all 50 states. They may say they can, but actually doing it is a different deal because, like we said, states are a little bit different. Also, all of our people are here in office. Nobody's virtual. There's certainly no VAs. And not that VAs are bad, right? I use them for marketing, but you don't want a VA for transactions. That's not going to, that's probably the worst thing you could do. You're better off doing it yourself because, being a transaction coordinator is far more than collecting paperwork. It's solving problems and being able to talk to sellers and get to the root of what the issue is. Who do we have to communicate with? Who do we have to gather up? Sometimes it's like herding cats and babysitting a little bit, but far better for us to be doing that than you, because you should be out getting your next deal. That's what we want from you. So all of our coordinators are here in our office. Like, nobody works remote. They're all certified. We don't let them, do anything with anybody until, we've tested them and they've been certified. We're at 2,600 files now in the last year. So we're certainly growing, but every person in our office, from the team leads all the way down to even our newest coordinator, is very focused on getting your deal closed. And, again, being an investor for 21 years, like, all of the things that you're doing, I've been through, right? So I understand the frustration of title companies, right? I understand, just the feeling of apathy that I send a contract over there and they don't give a darn, right? They don't give a shit, right? But I'll promise you, a company that does now almost $150 million in closings, like, they care when we call, right? Like, so you get to leverage that, the strength of, our company and 2,500 files, 2,600 files. So they are all very focused on getting your deal closed. So why easy? Again, like, we live by this. We want you to do more deals, make more money, have more freedom. And freedom can mean anything to anybody, right? If you want to use it to do more deals, awesome, right? That 30% of your time that we're going to give back to you, great. If you want to sit on the beach in Puerto Rico, awesome. We have clients who do that too, right? We've got clients in Germany and, in the Middle East. Like, we have clients all over the world that are doing deals. So, we want to free you up from having to do all that so that you can enjoy your business, right? Do the fun part, right? We're sending you to the Chinese buffet where you just get to eat crab legs and boneless ribs, right? We want to do everything we can to take all of that stuff off of your plate. And we have a proven system that, has worked over and over and over again for not only a lot of people in this community, but, for investors all over the country. So these numbers are actually about 2.5 months old, but 2,561 files handled. So there's not too much that you haven't seen, right? The one thing that I tell people, Aaron, is, close your eyes and just imagine the worst deal that you've ever had, right? The one that made you want to dig your eyeballs out and not be an investor anymore, right? It was so bad, or the deal died at the last minute. Like, I've had a couple of those, one for 74,000, one for 106,000, right? Like, deals die, right? It sucks, but it's a real thing. But your worst day is a Tuesday for us, right? Like, this is all that we do, right? Our office, everybody here is constantly, we solve title problems. That's what we do. So 124 million in closings, which is a pretty impressive number. I'm going to tell you, even when we crossed 100 million, like, it was a big deal for us. We definitely celebrated. And our average assignment fee for our clients is a little over 31,000. National average is 18,643. A couple of reasons for that. One, our clients have more time to spend in their business, right? More time to be working on acquisitions or with that acquisitions team, more time on dispo, right? And they're not trying to juggle, 15 flaming, bowling balls all at one time, right? So they run their businesses at a much higher level. Also, we do a lot of novations. We do probably more novations than anybody in the country. So that's important for us. We were founded on a couple of important things. One, we want you to do more deals and make more money, but we knew coming out of the gate, right, when we started 3 years ago, that we knew we needed to be able to serve our clients in all 50 states, right? I didn't want you to come to me and say, yeah, I got your Florida deal, but Georgia, can't help you there, right? So we knew that we were going to do all 50 states for our clients, but also that we were going to do all transaction types, because that's what we do as investors, right? We're not all pigeonholed into one little the round peg, right? I know that some days it's a novation, some days it's a creative deal, some days it's a rental, some days it's I'm going to self-purchase for this rehab, right? So we wanted to be able to be sure that we could handle anything that that you're going to bring us, right? Because again, I want you to make more money, and we've helped our clients generate almost $22 million in assignment fees. So that's a lot. And I only tell you this, I don't tell you to brag, but it's just to tell you that there's nothing that you're going to have that we can't handle for you. So, so ultimately, you know, if you're going to write down anything today, Easy REI closings, we're going to equal more deals, more money, and more freedom for you, right? We're going to take a lot of that stress and pressure off of you so that you can do revenue generating activities, right? Fine tune your marketing, work on acquisitions, work on dispositions. Let us take that back third of the business right off of your plate. And, you know, one thing that I frequently hear from our clients, usually about the 30 or 45 day mark, after they've come in, we do follow-up calls with them. And it's funny, Aaron, but the thing that I hear the most often is, holy smokes, man, I had no idea how much time this was taking. Like, I thought I was just trying to like do it, and I was kind of squeezing it in. And, you know, I didn't realize how much of my time this was really absorbing. And now all of a sudden I've got that time to focus on deals. And this is why, you know, this is why our company's growing, because, you know, if you're doing 2 or 3 deals a month, we want to get you to 5. If you're doing 5, 6, 7, we want to get you to 10, right? Better for you, better for us, right? But we definitely want to see your businesses growing. So young Sam, some of you guys may know him, one of our early clients, absolutely, you know, the quintessential investor, right? Amazing, great at following, you know, instructions from his coaches, and, you know, did everything he was supposed to do. Terrible at paperwork, right? And that's something you see a lot, right? The people like us, like me, like you, that were investors, right? Like, we've got that mindset of like, we'll just go out and do anything. We'll, you know, we'll work on our business. We're just going to hustle. We're going to do all the things that we've got to do. But we're usually pretty bad at paperwork, right? Our accountants hate us. Our lawyers don't like us. Bookkeepers are always aggravated, right? Stuff's never getting done. So, you know, one of the things we were able to help Sam with was really expand and grow his wholesale business by eliminating all the paperwork and the administrative tasks that come with those deals. And again, you know, that's a real thing, being able to put 20 or 30% of your effort back into your business, right? That's what moves the needle. That's what we're trying to help you guys do. If you want, you know, if you're looking to grow your business, if you're not, then, you know, that's okay too. But I have a feeling all of you guys are here on a middle of the afternoon because you want to grow your businesses. But we all have the same challenges, right? We're working virtual, we're working all over the country, we're trying to find title companies. And one thing I can tell you is not all title companies are the same, right? And nor should they be, right? Like, there's lots of clothing stores, right? So title companies are the same way, right? Some of them want to deal with builders, and some of them just want to do retail stuff. Some want to do some will do investor business, but just because they'll do a wholesale deal doesn't mean they'll do a novation. And even though they'll do a novation, they may not do a sub-2 deal. And even some sub-2s, companies may not do a sub-2 wrap, right? So we have 383 partner title companies across the country because it's very important to us to make sure that your deals close, right? Our coordinators are actually paid on a blended pay system, where they have salary plus commission. So why did we do that? Because again, like I said earlier, I was tired of that feeling of, oh my God, I send this over to the title company and they just don't give a crap. Right? So our coordinators get paid when you get funded, right? So they are constantly pushing these deals through as quick as they can. Also, we get anywhere between 40 and 60 contracts a day from our clients. So we don't want to be like I Love Lucy at the end of the pie conveyor belt, right? We've got to get old deals out so we can get new deals in. And again, 3,500 counties, 50 states, you know, gathering the paperwork that the title company needs is going to be different, right? Every deal is different, right? A bankruptcy deal is different from a foreclosure, different from a novation, sub-2, wrap, right? Like, they're all different. And you have to know what paperwork to collect, because again, our whole goal, right, is I want you to do more deals. So how do we do that? We compress time, right? And we can talk about that for sure. But we know that when you tell us you have, you know, a sub-2 wrap in New Jersey, this is the stuff that's going to be required in New Jersey. We can get that information immediately from your seller so that you're ready to go. If you want to go the next day, as quick as I can get that information from the seller, we're ready to get these things closed, right? We have to assume that you're going to close very quickly. So we immediately spring to action when you give us these contracts, because sometimes they get a little complicated, right? Sometimes they're goofy, and it takes time to get these things cleaned up. So I don't want to wait until you got your buying contract, right? Or your contract with your buyer to then go, oh, let me call the seller and see what kind of mess they've got here, right? We want to have all that done so that by the time you have your buyer, we're ready to take this thing to closing, so that we can get everybody on the same page, coordinate the signatures and the closings. And, oh, the seller is 90 years old and she wants to close at a local title company. Great, no problem. No matter where the title company is, we can get what's called a courtesy closing and make sure that there's someplace local where she can go in and sit and talk to somebody and feel like, everything is on the up and up, right? Because we understand the local laws and regulations and whatever is going to be required in that area. And, one of the important things that a lot of clients ask us to do is memos, right? Notice of contract. Now, that's something that, there's always a little fee depending upon what the local county charges. But for the most part, we can record those in, I think, like 3,100 of 35 or 3,600 counties across the country. If somebody's online, we can get it recorded for you. But ultimately, what we don't want is, I don't want any unnecessary lost deals or lost revenue, right? Lost checks, lost money in Hip National Bank because of a title issue that you didn't know how to solve, or because some attorney, some dope at a title company says, oh, you just can't close this because whatever, right? It needs to have a quiet title, or it needs to have probate, because a lot of those issues, there's another answer. Not always, but a lot of times there is another way that you can get that deal closed. And I can't tell you how many tens of thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars it probably cost me over the first couple of years, not understanding that, or not having somebody that could do that for me. So Ryan, long time client, talked to him not too long ago. He makes a list because he has the best quote, right? I don't ever want to go back to that dirty past life where we were doing TC in-house, and having them on that team has really helped streamline the pipeline. So yeah, I mean, again, you can change your own oil. It's awesome. If you love doing it, that's cool. You definitely should do it. But if you're looking to grow your company, right, this is one of those things you should outsource. PPC, you should not be spending time trying to figure out Google PPC. It's crazy, unless you really love it. If that's your passion, but you don't have to, is the point, right? You can spend the time doing the things that you like. And if you guys are like me, you're talky. All you want to do is talk to people, right? That's me. I love talking to sellers and mostly buyers. I'm more of a dispo guy. The only thing that's important to our team, literally, is close the deal, right? That's a hashtag that we've got on one of our walls. That's what we are all here for, is to help you get your deals closed, right? I want you focused on the things that are going to make the cash register ring. I want your bank account growing every month so that we can help you do more deals. Alex, a little earlier, we talked about some of the companies that we've helped grow. So Alex, they're in the Pacific Northwest. When they came to us in March, I think a year ago, they were doing, it says 97 in revenue. And we're a huge reason why by the end of May, they were able to scale up to 750,000. Actually, beyond that, a couple of months later, they had 811,000 in profit in 1 month. $811,000. I'm not telling you everybody can do that, but it's possible. 100%. We have helped companies scale up to those numbers. So how is it that we help them? Well, all of a sudden now, they don't have 2 or 3 people having to work on this stuff. Now they're, taking all of those resources and putting it back into their company and doing the things that, again, make the cash register ring. So again, we've talked about a lot of this, so I won't go over too much, but what's different about us? Again, we're the only company that can and has served clients in all 50 states with all transaction types. All of our people are here in office. Again, no VAs are doing any transaction work whatsoever. It's 100% done for you, right? We'll talk about how we can work together here in just a little bit. But literally, if you decide to work with us today, tomorrow you have 17 certified trained coordinators working on your team, right? And these aren't just people that we gather off the street with a net, right? They're people that work for title companies, abstractors, processors, people from the mortgage industry, the collection industry, people who understand what it takes to navigate through, right, through the title process, right? Because it's like whitewater rapids, right? You think you're doing great, bam, you hit a rock, there goes your $18,000 deal, right? Because, somebody tells you that it can't be closed, or the seller needs to do something that they don't understand how to do. And again, those are the things that we do all the time for you, because we want this to be literally a turnkey system. Send us the contract, let us take over from there. We're going to give you, every client has a custom, we call it a portal or a hub, where you can log in anytime, day or night, and see what's going on with your deal. Because again, this was a problem that I had in the beginning. Title companies would say they were going to build this stuff for us and never did. So, I want you to be able to log in at 2:00 in the morning on a Tuesday and say, oh my God, what's going on with 123 Main Street, right? I didn't have a chance to call my coordinator today. Oh, here it is. All the notes every day, who touched it, what they did, what the outcome was. Like, oh, okay, great. I can see everything that's going on here, right? Like all the notes, all the correspondence, all the contracts, everything is in there. Complete transparency, right? There's nothing that we do that you can't see. And that was very important to us, right? Wanted to make sure that you felt very comfortable and, assured that we were working these deals for you. Because that's what we give you, is world-class customer support. We'll put our team up against anybody, absolutely any place. And you can't replicate what we do for, even if you were to bring in someone and pay them $700 or $800 a week. Because all of our people, they're here to literally hold your hand if that's what we need, because we want to get these deals closed. None of us got into this business to figure out what a monument of title was. I know I didn't, right? But we don't realize that title issues are a natural part of the game. So let us take that off your plate so you can focus on acquisitions and dispositions. I know a lot of you know Corey Geary, good friend of mine. Now he's made so much money in real estate, he's doing crypto down in the Caribbean in Puerto Rico. Corey, a very interesting guy, one of our very first clients, very super heavy on novations. But Corey had, when we took over for him, he had 2 coordinators in his office that he was paying $40,000 a piece to. And he was able to, instantly just outsource all of that to us for literally a fraction of the price. And now he had that $80,000 to put back into his business. Like, what would $80,000 in marketing do to your business? Right, that's a lot, right? That's a lot of postcards. That's a lot of direct mail. That's a lot of PPC. That's a lot of, deals from, the on-demand PPC. So, that will generate a lot of money. And that's how people are seeing that exponential growth in their companies, right? So yeah, game changer in the business, novations, creative, all that stuff, because those are the things that we did in our business. So we understand that if it was important to me, that it's going to be very important to you, right? Again, we are super easy to implement and onboard and, bring on to your team. You can get us for less than the price that it would cost to hire somebody at McDonald's, right? You'll receive your own custom portal, every coordinator, right? So every deal, this was, again, a huge thing, right? I remember I would turn my contract into the title company and Susie would have it, right? I'd be like, great. 2 days later, I call Susie with something. She's like, oh, I don't have your deal anymore. Steve's got your paperwork. Okay, well, that happens. Call Steve and I get his voice recording. It says he's on vacation for 2 weeks. I call Bob. Oh man, I feel like I'm playing whack-a-mole here, right? I call Bob and he's like, oh yeah, I just got all of Steve's files. It'll be a couple days before I can get back to you. So I'm like, well, we're not going to do that because that sucks. So when a file is assigned to a coordinator, that coordinator has it all the way till the end. Because again, this is how we can compress time, right? This coordinator is going to be the one who's talking to your seller every single day or every week or however often is necessary. They're the one communicating with you. Once you get a buyer, they're going to call that buyer, collect all the documents, and they're going to be in communication with the title company so that, again, we can get these deals closed just as quickly as possible, because I want to get you paid fast. I want you to have your time back. And again, closing more deals just means getting more checks. So Miss Lori from South Carolina, super great. It's good to have a female on here. They're usually far more organized than the dudes. But very nice of her to say that we were very detailed and organized and brought a lot of experience to the table. We were great at fixing title issues, and super sweet of her to say that she would recommend us to just any real estate investor. So we definitely appreciate her and all of her business, because this is what we want for you, right? Same thing I want, right? All of us as business owners, at some point you want to ascend to the spot where you're a business owner and not grinding it out in the business, right? And you need people that you can trust to do, whatever segment of the business that is, right? Some of those are going to be in-house people, but sometimes it's going to be far better and cheaper to bring in, an outsourced company like us, right? You could definitely bring in and pay $80,000 a year to some Google PPC expert, but you can outsource that for a fraction of the cost, right? Same thing with us and transactions. So, ultimately for us, easy REI closings, more deals, more money, more time, and just more freedom. That's what our goal is for our clients. And if all we did, right, if we did nothing else but helped you save one deal, even one deal a month or every 2 months, right? What we showed the average nationwide deal was 263,000. Like if we saved you 4 of those a year, that's $80,000. I promise you, we are far cheaper than that. But it will happen. We will save those deals that you're losing or, that are just dying. And a lot of times you're like, well, my dispo manager told me he couldn't get this thing closed. Well, at least half of those deals I think we could save for you. Again, without looking at every individual one, we don't know, but we will close far more deals faster than you can do on your own, or even hire your own in-house person, right? Because like if you don't know about transactions, how are you going to bring somebody in and train somebody else to do it, right? Whereas with us, you can hire us and we are ready to go tomorrow. So work less, make more money. That's what we're looking for. But what if it was free? Right. So one thing that, Aaron, we've been on here a couple of times and, a couple
it's my favorite part.
There it is, man. We came on and we talked about this, and I know Tiff talks a lot about it in the groups and in the reels. One thing that I discovered from being at a mastermind and, being in a great event like this was I saw somebody doing something kind of, not exactly what we turned it into, but it gave me the idea. And my friend Donnie in Dallas, he was talking about at a high level mastermind about adding in an administrative fee for $295. I'm like, huh. So the whole flight home from Dallas, well, I was in San Antonio at the time, but the whole flight home, I'm like, well, man, like I could do that. Like, why couldn't I add that in? And $295 seems low because I've been screwed over by a ton of realtors who are charging me $1,500. Why couldn't I do $595? Right. So what we'll teach you, and I know, again, Tiff and Josh talk about this and all the coaches a lot, is adding in that administrative fee to your contract. If you have a novation contract, it actually has to be on the seller side. And we can definitely talk you through how to do that and how to adjust your contract. But you can literally use that to offset the cost of us. Right. So can you offset the cost of somebody in-house? Of course. But then you still have all the same problems of, I got to do Indeed ads. I got to go through the aggravation of interviews. I got to hire them. I got to train them. Then I got to manage them. And again, all of that time you should be spending on your business, not doing this. Right. So 100%, we could charge double what we're charging and you could still offset our cost with the administrative fee. And I've got clients now who are doing like $950 and getting it every single day. So, I did $595 in my company, but people are definitely doing more. I've got some people putting, $995 on the seller side and the buyer side, making $1,800 a deal and, covering our cost in one deal. So anyways, we'll definitely show you how you can do that and offset it. And I will tell you before anybody says it doesn't work, it works every time. I've sold deals to hedge funds where they pay it. Nobody cares. Everybody gets feed to death. So here's what I'm going to do. Aaron, I was talking earlier to Tiff. This is something I've never done before for anybody. Dispo Team Training is a course that we have that it's a little light there, but it sells on our website for $49.97. 100%. It is 16 modules, 22 videos, 12 hours. It was created when I was coaching. It is by far the best course on the market for training your dispo team, right? Bringing somebody in off the street, literally may have been a car salesman, and I take them step by step all the way. We talk about what is wholesaling, all the way through the entire process, how to do Facebook Facebook groups, how to post, how to do emails, the whole process, everything that you need to train your dispo team. Here's the rules. You got to book a call today, and I'm gonna give you a link here to book a call with our sales team, and you sign up for one of our subscription services, right? Because we work on a subscription model. If you sign up this week, I will give you this for free. It's $49.97. Go to David Olds REI. Right now, you can buy it there. It's $49.97. I've never done this before for anybody, but I'm doing it for Tiff and Josh. So that's 100%. You'll get that, no charge. And why would I do that? Because I want you to do more deals, right? We created this. I want to give it to you because I want to help turbocharge your guys' business. Because honestly, you're going to do more deals, and maybe you go up to the third level from us instead of the first level. But ultimately, it's just our way of giving back, and I really appreciate everything Tiff and Josh do for us and having us in the community. So, I don't do this for anybody else. I promise you, if you pop on a Zoom that I do for any other group, you're not going to get this. One, you got to pull out your phone here because in a minute, I'm going to give you a QR code to scan. You have to scan that code. Don't go to easyreiclosings.com because it won't trigger it. You're going to have to use the link that I give you here if that's what you want to do. If you want to grow your business, there's no better deal I can give you, right? I've shown you how we're going to be free, and I'm going to show you how, people paid a lot of money for me to come around and teach them this. So pull out your phone, scan that code. It's going to take you to a little page where a video of me and Tiff talking in Dallas, I think a month or so ago. Underneath that's a little blue box that says book a call. I talked to our team today, so they've opened up some extra spots so that they can talk to you. But yeah, we really want to help pour back into the community. You guys have been so great to us, and we want to do everything we can to help you grow your businesses. So hopefully we can help you do that.
Absolutely. All right, guys, I just threw it in the chat too. So while we'll keep this up on the screen, I encourage you guys to post any questions, or if you guys have any direct questions, I'd be more than happy to bring you guys up on the stage to ask David individually. Anything you guys got?
Yeah,
I did see that.
Generic TC questions, title questions, whatever you got, man. I'm here. I'm happy to answer them. We'd love to do it.
I see that Sam asked, do you guys do any work in Canada?
Not Canada. No, we actually have more Canadian clients working in the United States. There's just far more opportunity for it. I do know that Canada is a little funny in doing deals up there. Not enough that I don't know it well enough to get into the specifics, but just far more opportunity here in the US and Canada. So no.
All right, we got some
interesting question out of the gate though.
It's actually Canada seems to be a popular spot right now.
Yeah.
Sam, are you in Canada? Is that where you're doing your deals right now? Okay, cool. Yeah, that's awesome. I think we just had a person come to our last 2-day workshop.
Really?
Yeah, that was in Canada. So it's unique because the systems are they're very different, but you can find systems of what we use that are very similar in Canada. So
yeah, I met some people on a cruise when I was in Europe, and they were talking about how they don't do, and if Sam's up there, maybe he can tell me, maybe I misunderstood it, but they don't do construction loans. You have to basically fund the construction yourself and then get a bank loan, but there are people who will fund it for you, kind of like private money. So there's just lots of just idiosyncrasies that are a little bit different. But I've got somebody in a mastermind that Tiff and I are both in that works up there. Ultimately, Sam, here's the thing. I want to be the very best at solving your deals here. So we want to make sure that we are incredibly focused on, the U.S. and the 3,500 counties that are here. So that's obviously where, 99.99999% of our requests are.
All right, we got a plethora of questions now in the chat.
All right, let's do it.
All right, Katie asked, could we use you for just filing memos on all of our deals?
Sorry, we eventually someday may. I actually own the website, the URL Memo My Problemo. So we may do that as an offshoot one day, but no, right now we only do, we only do that as a service for our clients. So
I think I know the answer to Jay's question. Are you familiar with the double closing process? I know that he is.
My gosh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Jay, what's your specific question in double closing? What are you trying to ask, David? We'll come back to you as you're typing.
My guess is it's going to be about funding. And the biggest question always is if I can use the buyer's funds for the seller. And the answer is it depends. I will tell you that the underwriters do not like it. First American, Old Republic, Fidelity, WFSG, they don't like it because they want to see that there are two completely separate transactions. So they don't like the funds being used. Now, that being said, there are title companies who will do it. In Tennessee, I can tell you it is specifically by the legislature, it is illegal, but there are some companies that will do it. So what I tell people is if we can do it, we will do it, right? If we have a title company that covers that area, we will do it where it's possible, but it's getting harder and harder, much harder today than it was 5 years ago. So eventually, you know, my thinking is that in 5 years, we're going to be double closing everything, right? That's just the way kind of the trend seems to be going. But yes, if that's where he's going at the end, that is the answer to that question. A lot of times we can do it, but I can't guarantee you that we always will be able to.
All right. Let's see. Monica asked, do we have to contact the seller first, or do we have to come to a verbal agreement and price, meaning totally complete the acquisitions call, then I can set up a transactions appointment where the seller can sign it with you guys?
You send us the signed contract. I tell people I don't buy the house for you and I don't sell it. Once you have that property under contract, you literally drag and drop that contract to me, give me the seller's name and number, and we will take it from there.
Nicole asked, do you operate in attorney states like New York, North Carolina?
All 50. I can tell you, New York is a challenging state. We have clients that live there. No, I don't know if anybody remote works in New York because it's such a challenge. But yeah, New York is one of the more challenging ones because, the seller and the buyer have their own attorneys. And we've had some where like the email chain got to over 200. Like at some point, our coordinators were like, yeah, and it's going to get to 200, right? Because it just takes forever up there and they're more expensive states to work. But we have closed in all 50 states, 100%. Not a problem.
Looks like we got a couple people from New York in the call.
Yeah. Big spreads because it's a pain to work there.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it is.
We don't let Nicole's on the call. We don't let her think that her market's more challenging than Ohio. So
no, listen, I mean, it's just the process. So, it's more difficult for us, but it doesn't cost you any more. What we always advise people is, hey, don't promise a 14-day close in New York, right? That's crazy. You probably want to put 60 or 90 days on your contract to work through that process.
Perfect. All right, Thomas, you posted your phone number if somebody could call me after this. So is that for me or is that for David? David's team?
I can't see it, Thomas. So if you scan the QR code, you can pick any time you want, and we'll be happy to jump on a call with you. It'll actually be a Zoom call. And then we can answer all. And what we'll do on this call, guys, we just want to learn a little bit about your business. We'll talk to you about how we do it and see if it would be a good fit. So see if you would be a good fit for us, right? We'll talk about what your goals are for next year and how we can help you get there. And we'll show you the hub and the portal and all that type of stuff. We can get a little more detailed than we can in this kind of quick thing.
All right, next one, we got a quick kind of a scenario-based question. Jason said that he has a seller in Pennsylvania whose mother just passed away without a will. Is it correct that they will have to file probate paperwork and be named the administrator
Not always. This is a great question. So this is one of those problems that used to happen to me all the time. And in most states, and I'm not going to speak to Pennsylvania because I don't know it for sure, but I feel like it is one of those ones where we can do this. This was what happened in Tennessee. Finally, after I keep going to this Jeremy, Dr. No, right? And one day I'm like, dude, come on, I promised this lady we could solve this problem. And he's like, well, man, if you can get me a death certificate and an obituary, and all the heirs are willing to sign off on it and get two disinterested parties to sign an affidavit of heirship, we can close this without probate. So what does that mean? So the mother died, right? Like, is the dad still living, right? If he's passed away and the mother passed away, now the property rights, it transfers to the children, right? Whoever those heirs are. Let's say there's 3 heirs. If all 3 of those heirs are alive and they're all willing to sign, great. We can probably get this thing closed for you. We need the death certificate, and obituary. Why the obituary? Because people don't generally think to lie the day their parents die, right? Because what does an obituary say? Penelope is survived by her 3 children, boom, 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 And, underwriters will take that as, saying, hey, these are the only three people that, are going to have an interest in the property. So, we can definitely look at that and see. I would say 75% of the time we can avoid probate. But, probate is not always the end of the world. Florida, they can be done in a couple of weeks if everybody wants to be a participant.
Let's see. Can you talk of the relationships with your transactional lenders for cases where they are needed for a double close, or do we have to do that work ourselves?
No, we definitely have recommendations for you, and they're pretty cheap. If it's something that you need a transactional lender, we can definitely connect you with them. It's not us; it's an outside company that we have a relationship with, where we do a lot of work with them, and they'll get you some good pricing. But yeah, it's relatively straightforward. So in any transaction, right? Just to kind of give you a rundown of how it would work, right? Aaron, you're going to upload a contract to me, right? So what happens kind of behind the curtain, right, is you can't really see this, but one of our team leads is going to go, oh, okay, Aaron, Novation, West Virginia, cool. So we're going to pull up a list of our West Virginia title companies. Okay, here are people that we know can do a novation, right? Not say they can do a novation, right? They have proven to us they've either done novations for us or they've proven to us that they can do a novation. Great, I'm going to assign it to that title company and I'm going to assign it to the correct coordinator, right? Who does deals in that state, in that type of transaction, right? So boom, the next thing that happens is, our coordinator is going to jump on the phone and call Mrs. Smith, the seller. Hey, Mrs. Smith, this is David. I'm working with Aaron on your deal over at 123 Main Street. Hey, Mrs. Smith, I'm going to be your point of contact from here all the way till closing. So that baton gets handed off to us. And now you're done, right? Aaron, you go get your next deal, right? Now it's me and the seller. Hey, Mrs. Smith, so I need to collect some documentation from the title company so I can get you paid as quick as possible, right? Because we're always going to dangle that pleasure, right? The carrot to them. So based on whatever situation is with the seller, death, divorce, taxes, probate, bad tenant, whatever it is, right? We have a different checklist by state of what's going to be required. So again, we're going to work immediately with this seller to collect all the documentation. So while you're off working on your buyer, right, in the background, we're collecting all of this information because, again, I have to assume that you're going to show up with your buyer the next day. So we have to go to work immediately to get all of this stuff for you, which is going to be different from you trying to do it yourself where you're switching hats all the time, right? Great, I'm doing marketing. Oh, I'm doing acquisition calls. All right, great. Now I got to sell the deal. Shoot, now I got to go back to transactions, right? So what this does, right, how we help you do more deals and make more money is we're going to streamline your company so it's less peaks and valleys, right? This was what happened to me, right? I was finding that I was making a ton of money 3 to 4 times a year, right? Kind of when all of those things seemed to hit. And I'd go through this cycle of craziness of marketing, acquisitions, dispositions, transaction, checks. Oh, God. Now I'm exhausted and I got to start the marketing wheel back up, right? And this is what happens when you don't have a real company, right? You don't have a real business. And that's, again, we want to kind of flatten out that wholesale cycle of death so that you get more consistent income from you. So hopefully that answered your question on like kind of what that process is. So then once you upload the contract with your buyer, same thing, right? Hey, Joe, working with Aaron on your deal over here at 123 Main Street. Hey man, looks like you're closing this year LLC. I need to get your corporate docs, your articles of incorporation. Are you using Longhorn as a hard money lender? Cool, man. Who are you using over there so I can call them and get the terms? I'm going to gather up all of this stuff. We're going to package it with all the seller information. We're going to get this to the title company. We're going to get this thing closed just as quick as possible because I know you want to get in there and start rehabbing it, right? Cool, man. Give me that information and let us take care of it. Then once we've got the clear to close, now we're going to coordinate everybody and how and where they want to sign. Who's going to wire money in? How does the seller want their money? Do they want a check? Do they want a wire? Do they want to have a notary come to them? Do they want to go to a title company? Do they want to do it remote? Like, what do they want to do? So we're going to do all of that behind the scenes, and we just go get your next contract, go sell your next deal, right? Let us do all of this stuff behind the scenes for you. Hope that answered your question.
All right, I think I got a pretty good question from Dale.
Ready?
He said, as far as title, so you have, I know you mentioned you had 300 plus title companies that you work with,
yep,
across the U.S. Dale asked, can we pick the title company that we work with on certain deals, or do they have to be part of your guys' network in order to work with them?
Great question, Dale. Here's what I'll tell you. If you have somebody that you work with consistently in one market and you like, we'd love to talk to them, right? That's how we got a lot of our title companies with a couple hundred clients. Like, like we definitely want to talk to them if they're amazing. Chances are they're probably already in our network, but if you have somebody you love and they're great and they could do this particular type of transaction, absolutely, no problem. I'll tell you, very rarely does it come in. People are like, this is the greatest title company ever. And we work with them for a little bit and we're like, dude, these guys are terrible. They're costing you money. Let us pick it. But if you're working remote and you're in an area where you don't know, we always like let us control that for you because it's our job to make sure that your deal closes. Right. So, I don't ever, and I know you guys don't ever, I don't ever advise letting your buyer pick the title company, right? Don't let your seller pick the title company because then we all lose control of the deal. And for us, we want to control your deal because I can push it through just as quick as possible. Whereas if, you let your buyer close at his buddy's title company, and they see you're making $80,000, things happen, right? We've all been there, right? Naturally your buyer is going to see that before you do. And, he's going to start to give you some grief. So the more we can control that process for you, I promise you, the more deals you will close. So, but yeah, absolutely. We definitely will take recommendations on title companies.
Perfect. All right, guys. I know we're nearing the top of the hour.
If you
So
have
I'm
more,
gonna take
man, I'm good. If
yeah.
you're like, it's up to you.
Okay, cool.
I'm
Yeah,
here to be.
let's take two more questions. One from Monica.
Right.
So Monica said, I had a seller in Tennessee. I had to cancel the contract because they acquired via a quick claim deed. The title company said the person who sold them was under investigation because they were acquiring the property from a deceased individual, and they felt the signature was forged. The sellers are stuck with a property that they can't sell. Do you think that that's closable?
There is
Probably
fraud
have a lot of
there. This is,
questions in that.
yeah, I would have to look at that. So, my thing is we would go back to your seller and say, okay, hey, Steve, right? Hey, Steve, who did you get this deal from? Like, let's go back in time and see if we can unwind this and see what's going on. Fraud is a real thing, guys. Don't when title companies say they can't close some stuff, it's an insurance business. So if a title company closes a property for $400,000 and gives you title insurance and this thing goes sideways, they are on the hook for probably 80% of that amount. Right. So understand when, there are times where the title company will say, hey, man, I don't feel good about this. Like, I'm not willing to do it. So, like we can't force anything through. But I would definitely, our coordinators would get involved there and try to go back one step further and say, okay, hey, this person died. Who were the three heirs? Can we get them to do a quick claim deed and sign off on it? Right. And sometimes you got to give them $1,000, right? If it's a good enough deal, but all of you should always be cautious when this is an acquisition. This really is an acquisitions issue. When you're buying this property and you're on PropStream and you're like, hey, this thing was bought on a quick claim deed. Somebody should ask, hey, why was it bought on a quick claim deed? Oh, well, it was a divorce thing. Oh, great. No problem. Right. But was the previous deed a tax sale deed? Well, that's not going to be insurable. Doesn't mean the property, it's not a good title, but it's gonna indicate something, right? So we have clients all the time that will call us and say, hey, buying this property, seller says he's got it on a quick claim deed. Like, do you think it's going to be insurable, right? Or, can this be fixed or can this be closed? And we're happy to look at those types of things for you. So, but yeah, unfortunately, Memphis is rife with fraud. They're like the quick claim capital of the world with pocket deeds and all kinds of crazy stuff over there. So you will run into areas that have that. But also, the last thing you want to do is sell that to an end buyer who thinks he's going to buy it and rehab it and sell it to somebody who's going to get a bank loan. And then, boy, you get someone to put $100,000 into a property and it not be resellable, they're going to be pissed. So, this is a lot of it's for your protection. Good question, though.
Yeah, awesome. All right, guys. I think what I really want to wrap it up with is I see this a lot, right? So we have a ton of people that we educate, a lot of one-man shows, a lot of people in that production phase of the business that are your 2 to 3 partnerships, or they have maybe an acquisitions person, maybe an admin, something along those lines. So we help a lot of various different people here at Results Driven. And I can't advocate for David enough because the number one thing that I see, and what all of my coaches see as well is that, we see what we call the hair on fire syndrome a lot of the time. When things are going really, really, really good, and we start to add in this, predictability inside the business, and the scalability that's coming with it. And we start to get that momentum, right? And then we come crashing back down because, oh, you know what? I got to stop doing my daily huddles. I got to stop training my team. I got to stop assessing where my priorities are, in the business and work, on the business. I got to jump back into the business to, handle this random title issue, because I got to get this deal closed in order to pay the bills, right? So really the key here, I know we kind of talked about at the very beginning of this call around revenue generating activities. And by utilizing a company, and taking the strategy of what David talked about by adding in that fee, to essentially make, his services practically free, it's a huge, huge, huge advantage, for honestly every single person, whether you're, doing one deal a month, whether you're doing no deals a month and you're looking to get your first deal, or whether you're doing 1 to 3, 3 to 5, or 10 plus, right? There's a value for this in every single business that's out there, to delegate out the really just, those random tasks that nobody wants to deal with, right? Nobody wants to do paperwork. I know nobody got into real estate to handle with
Absolutely
paperwork.
nobody.
I can tell you that, right? The day I wanted to see, I wanted to get into real estate, I was like, you know what, my favorite thing would be is to look at a deed and learn all about these deeds and
Oh,
how I can get them all trend. Like, no, I don't want to do that. Nobody on this call wants to do that, right?
dude, I used to get
Um,
emails from closing companies and we called it abstractor language. They were literally just cut and pasting some crap from an attorney. And
yeah.
I'd spend 15 minutes Googling what different words meant because I had no earthly idea. And that's not the best use of your time, I promise you.
Yep. Yep. So, like I said, we've seen it time and time again. So, that's really why we wanted to bring David, into the community today, just really talk about that, and really give you guys, some baseline knowledge, and hopefully you guys took a lot away today. The number one thing I'll tell you guys is, I see there's still some comments floating in the chat. Book a call with this team. Ask those questions of what you guys have inside the chat that we're not able to get to. Put those Shelf them, and then ask them whenever you guys meet with David's team, just to make sure that it is a good fit for you, right? That's all we can ask for at the end of the day. I know that removing the small things off your guys' plate is really what's going to allow you guys to propel forward in the business. You'll see that delegation is the number one thing that's going to allow you guys to buy back your time, to ultimately be able to spend it, with who you want and do whatever you want with that time, right? So, David, I don't got anything else, man, but I appreciate you coming into community as always, my friend.
Yeah, man.
I know that
Happy to
you're a
do
big
it.
advocate and you're always, dropping some knowledge bombs inside the community, and, helping anybody out with any type of random scenarios that they come across. So, we at Results Driven, thank you, David, for coming in today. And
Appreciate you
once
having
again,
me, man.
everybody on the call, scan the QR code, book a call with David's team, and have a great rest of everybody's week.
All right, guys. See ya.
Cool. Thanks, guys. Take it easy.